All right, today we're cracking open Guy Kawasaki's classic book, The Art of Social Media. We're going to break down the key strategies and core ideas you need to build a social media presence that's actually powerful. This is for you, whether you're a creator, an entrepreneur, or a brand that's really looking to make an impact.
So, a core idea from the book, and I love this, is that resharing, not imitation, is the sincerest form of flattery on social media. This little quote just gets right to the heart of it all. See, the ultimate goal isn't just to post stuff, it's to create value that's so good, so useful, that other people just have to share it. So, let's figure out how to actually do that. We're going to walk through 5 key pillars to really master social media. First, building your foundation. Then we'll tackle feeding the content monster, move on to perfecting every post, talk about engaging your audience, and finally, wrap it all up by adopting the power user mindset. So, let's start at the beginning, building your foundation. Because really, before you can even think about what you're going to post, you have to get your profile right. And let me tell you, this first step is absolutely critical because people make snap judgments. Your profile is basically your resume for the whole world, and you've got about 5 seconds, tops, to convince someone you're worth their time. If you fail that little test, nothing else you do is even going to matter. A great way to think about this is the difference between Tinder and eHarmon. People first find your profile in a total Tinder way. It's a quick, almost subconscious swipe left or right. They just glance at your picture, your description, and decide in a split second. It's only if you pass that first superficial test that they'll ever move on to the eHarmony stage of, actually reading your full bio or clicking your links. Your profile has got to be built for that 5-second glance. So what goes into this 5-second resume? Well, there are 4 key parts. First up, your avatar. This should be your face and only your face, because it gives people the most information about whether you seem likable, trustworthy, and competent. Second, your cover photo. That's where you visually tell your story. Third is your mantra, just 2 to 4 powerful words that explain why you exist. Think Nike's authentic athletic performance. And fourth, your bio, which just quickly sums up your experience and proves you know what you're talking about.
Now, when it comes to that cover photo, there is one mistake that just stands out above all the others: leaving up the default image that the platform gives you.
Seriously, leaving that default picture up just screams to the world that you're either clueless about social media or worse, you just don't care. It takes literally 30 seconds to upload a picture, and not doing it just tanks your credibility instantly. The takeaway here is super simple. Customize everything. It shows you're serious and that you're actually paying attention. Okay, so with a solid foundation in place, we can move on to our second pillar, tackling the daily grind of social media, which the book so brilliantly calls feeding the content monster. And this is, you could argue, the biggest daily challenge there is. If you've ever managed a social media account, you know this feeling all too well. You wake up and that first thought hits you. Oh my gosh, what am I going to post today? It's just this relentless, draining pressure. That pressure, that is the monster. And it is always hungry. I mean, creating original, high-quality stuff like a blog post or a video, that's hard to do more than a couple of times a week. But social media demands a constant flow. So the real question becomes, how in the world do you feed this monster without completely burning out? The most powerful answer to that question is content curation. This is the art of finding other people's good stuff, adding your own little spin or perspective, and then sharing it. And it's a true win-win-win. The person who created it gets more traffic, your audience gets amazing filtered content, and you get to feed the monster while building your reputation as a trusted, knowledgeable source. So where do you find all this great content to curate? Well, some excellent places to start are sites like Alltop, which pulls headlines on thousands of topics, or Feedly for organizing the feeds from all your favorite sites, and of course, high-quality sources like NPR and TED, where you can find something brilliant and shareable every single day. The key is just to find sources that fit your brand, but are also interesting to a wider audience. Okay, now that we have a solid foundation and a steady stream of content coming in, it's time for Pillar 3, perfecting every single post. There is a clear formula for maximizing the impact of everything you share, and you know what? It's simpler than you might think. The whole formula really boils down to 4 key principles. First, be valuable. Offer information, analysis, or just some entertainment. Second, be visual. Post with images or videos get way more engagement, it's not even close. Third, be brief. You've got to capture attention quickly in a crowded feed. And fourth, be found by using relevant hashtags to join bigger conversations and get discovered. This whole approach is basically what the book calls the NPR model. Think about it. National Public Radio provides incredible value for free,
365 days a year. And because they do that, they earn the right to occasionally run a pledge drive and ask for your support. Your social media should work the exact same way. Provide constant value, and then when you occasionally need to promote something, your audience will actually be open to it. You really have to ask yourself, are you being NPR or are you being QVC, just selling all the time?
Now, here's one of the book's more, let's say, controversial points. It's about how often you should post. The advice is to post way more often than you're probably comfortable with, and even to repeat your best posts. Why? Well, because social media is a constantly flowing river, not a still lake. A post you make at 9 a.m. is only going to be seen by the tiny fraction of your followers who happen to be online right then. Repeating it isn't spam. It's just giving everyone a fair shot to see your best stuff. And there's an experiment that proves this point perfectly. The same tweet was posted 4 times, 8 hours apart. The first post got about 1,300 clicks, but the grand total for all 4 posts together? 7,600 clicks. So the question is pretty simple. Would you rather have 1,300 clicks or 7,600? If you're using social media for your business or to build a platform, you've got to repeat your content. And that leads us perfectly into our 4th pillar, engaging your audience. It's so important to remember that social media isn't just a broadcast channel. At its heart, it's a conversation. To really engage well, you have to know the basic tools. A hashtag, connects your post to a broader topic, like hashtag photography, so anyone interested in that can find you. An @mention, on the other hand, directs a comment to a specific person or brand, like @Audi. It's a simple difference, but it's absolutely critical for communicating the right way. But what about the scary part? The negative comments and the trolls. The key is to respond, but to respond the right way. The book lays out a really simple 3-step plan. First, always assume good intent, because tone is so easy to misread in text. Second, stay positive. Remember, your response is for everyone watching, not just the person who commented. And third, if you just can't find common ground, simply agree to disagree. Trolls are looking for a fight. The best thing you can do is not give them one.
Okay, finally, let's tie all of this together with the 5th and final pillar, adopting a power user mindset. There is one core principle that really holds all of these strategies together and makes them work.
And that principle is so simple. Be a mensch. It's a Yiddish word for a kind, honorable, decent person who just does the right thing. On social media, this means you give without expecting anything back right away. You share other people's stuff, you offer help, you make positive comments, you just act with kindness and generosity. And if you do that consistently, all that goodness will eventually flow back to you. It is the ultimate long-term strategy. And that brings us to the final big question you should be asking yourself. Are you just posting, or are you actually building a platform? By applying these principles, you can move from just adding more noise to the internet to strategically building a presence that's valuable, engaging, and respected. And that's what it's all about. That's all for this explainer. Thanks for watching.